Bruno Calabretta is an interesting guest. Usually, when people come to the podcast, I roughly have the planned idea how it's gonna go. But with Bruno today, I found out a lot of information I didn't know. A lot of information which shocked me and, well, made me reevaluate the topic of blockchain. As you know, blockchain isn't as sexy as artificial intelligence or augmented reality topics we have covered plenty on the podcast so far. So today I share with you the founder of a web-free consulting agency, Aurora Coaching, and a blockchain development manager, or Bruno Calabretta. Welcome to the show. So today my guest is Bruno Calabretta, the founder of Aurora Coaching and the blockchain development manager. Bruno, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about what you do?
Hello, Ivan, and thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really happy that I can share a little bit about my experience. So, as you said, my name is Bruno Calabretta. As you can hear from my accent, I'm Italian. And for giving you a little bit of background about myself and who I am, I have a master's science in biomedical engineering. And a couple of years ago, I decided to quit a very well-paid position in the US to follow my passion and my dreams, and this is to be more involved in the blockchain space. I founded Aurora Coaching, where I provide different kinds of services for individuals and for enterprises to embrace and understand the Web3 space, the blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFT, metaverse, and how to integrate in their everyday life, but also in their business models. And also right now I'm working as a blockchain development manager for Federitaly, where we created a very nice project for promoting products that are 100% made in Italy by creating a certificate that is being uploaded on the blockchain. And I'm also about to launch an innovation hub here in Indonesia for promoting the adoption of a layer one blockchain that is Internet Computer Protocol.
Well, that's fantastic. That's actually more projects than I thought you're doing. So that's actually really great that you're keeping yourself busy. So Bruno, as I've discussed previously with you, and something that I want to do in this podcast as well is to provide knowledge to people about how to enter and to how to navigate. I don't want to say Web3 space. I want to say the space of immersive technologies, because we also talk about augmented reality and VR and everything which has to do with it. But today I wanted to talk to you actually about the transition of the companies from Web 2 into the Web 3 space, and whether, as you pointed out before, whether they even should consider moving into the Web 3 space. So maybe we should start with this. Like, why
Okay.
should why? Because that's the most important one. Like, in marketing, when I work a lot, I tell people, like, if you're gonna use a tool, like, what's the point? What's the point? What is your point? What is your goal with this tool? What you're gonna get from? Like, and that's the same. Like, how should companies determine whether they need to move into Web3 space or they're just chasing hype?
Exactly. So this is a very good question, because right now, like a lot of companies, they don't know what is the Web3 space, what is blockchain, NFT, or metaverse, but they understand that there is a hype behind those buzzwords, and they want to jump on this because they understand that, like it was for the internet 20 years ago, that there was a hype behind and everybody wanted to develop on it, but most of the time they didn't even know what they were doing, especially in the early stage of the internet when there was just a bubble. The same thing is basically happening right now with blockchain. We see a lot of enterprises that want to follow this hype, but then most of the time they don't even know why they are doing it. What is the advancement that is bringing to their business flow, but also what are the advantages that is bringing to their community. I'm supporting different enterprises in moving into the Web3 space. But one of the first questions that I always ask is, why do you want to do it? And if they don't have a reply, I make them kind of do a path together where we understand what is their product, what is their community, and what are their values as a company. And according to this, they need to understand if using blockchain, it's something that it's actually useful for them, or maybe it's going to be just a waste of time. Because anyway, in the moment you decide to integrate blockchain technology in what you do every day for creating amazing products, there is a lot of work behind, and there are a lot of expenses. So you need to understand if it's worth to spend this money to enter in the Web3 space, or if you're already very good in what you are doing in Web2. Like, for example, when we talk of Web3 and blockchain, we know that the main goal is to use blockchain technology because blockchain is like a ledger that is allowing you to store information that are visible and transparent to everyone, but at the same time, they are like immutable. So nobody can tamper with this information. Nobody can change them. So according to what is your business, and by keeping this in mind, you need to understand if this utility is something that it's good for you. Like, for example, let's imagine that you are a real estate project developer, okay? And you want to be able to use, to integrate blockchain technology in your space. This is something you can do if, for example, the services that you want to provide are services where, for example, all information about a certain apartment or villa, they are all stored on the blockchain so that every time that you want to see information about a real estate that you want to buy, you have all the information available in a unique place that is stored on the blockchain. But if, for example, instead you are working in a way where the only thing that you are doing is doing like construction or real estate development, basically, if you think introducing blockchain in your world doesn't mean too much, but we can find a way to integrate it. Like, let's talk for a moment about real estate. Like, let's imagine that you want to collect money for building a series of villas, a series of apartments, but you have a lack of liquidity. One thing that you can do, you can introduce blockchain technology by storing the information about the real estate property on chain. And then what you can do, you can create like some kind of membership as NFT, where people can buy single unit from this real estate that you are developing. And in this way, they are the owner with, of course, certain benefits that are coming by owning this kind of NFT. And in the moment you have it, what you can do, you say, okay, with this NFT, I am the owner of this piece of land, of this apartment, of this villa, and I have all the information about my property stored on chain, and nobody can change it. So if somebody tomorrow is coming and saying, hey, no, this apartment is mine, no, because you see, I have all the information on the blockchain, so you can see that everything is there, and nobody can change the owner information that is specified that is me. And this is something that is already some property developers are already starting to implement, because this is something really useful. Like another example that I can make you, and this is something that I've been involved very much recently. As you said, I'm a blockchain development manager, and I'm doing this for this federation in Italy that is called Federitaly. And we created a certificate for promoting products that are 100% made in Italy. Now, let's imagine that you are going to the grocery store and you want to buy an Italian product, and you are willing to spend more money for buying a product of quality, because when you buy Italian product, usually there is the association Italy quality. So you are willing to spend more money to having this Italian product. But who is telling you that that label that is applied on the product that is saying 100% made in Italy, it's really Italian? Nobody. You are just trusting whoever has placed that information on the label that maybe is telling you a truthful information, but you don't have any way to verify this kind of information. So what we did with Federitaly, we created a very strict validation process where a company that wants to prove that their product is a product of quality is going to a strict validation process where we go on site, we check all their documentation, we verify all the materials from where they are coming, and we are proving that these materials are coming from Italy. In the moment all the process is finished and we say, okay, you are 100% made in Italy, we take the information of the validation process, about the product that are 100% made in Italy of that company, and we upload them on the blockchain into a smart contract. From this smart contract, we generate a certificate. And now I'm going to tell you more about this certificate and how it works. From this certificate, we generate a QR code that is given from us to the company. The company can then apply this QR code on every product and all marketing material. Now, if you think right now, when you see a QR code on a product and you scan it, there are three scenarios that are happening. Nothing is happening, so you scan the QR code and nothing is going on. You are provided with a code or a key that you don't know what to do with it, or you are being redirected to the product producer website. So basically, you don't have any information about that product. With our QR code instead, you are being immersed in a new experience where you find all the information about the validation process that are telling you that that company went through a verification process that is certifying that the product is 100% made in Italy. But then we generated an experience page where the producer can do marketing in a new way. So they can upload every kind of multimedia files, that it can be video, PDF, images, brochure, everything that they want in this experience page, so that they can tell their story about how they are creating quality, how they are dedicated to innovation, how they are dedicated to create a sustainable product with their consumers, so that in this way, consumers have a new way of interacting with them. The main goal of these initiatives, it's based on three pillars. That is, first of all, give back trust to the consumer, promote Italian excellence, and allow companies that are investing in new technology and in innovation to promote themselves in a newer way. Also, the advantage of our certification is that when you think of a certificate, you think of the classic piece of paper that you put in a frame, like the one behind on my wall, and you hang it there, and everybody say, hey, look, I have a certification. Yeah, but what do you give to me? We revolutionize this by creating this experience page because everything is on the blockchain. So nobody can alter this information. Nobody can collect the video, images, PDF that you are uploading. And you are not exposed to the risk of traditional website because first of all the multimedia file, they are not stored on server. So if tomorrow the owner of the server is unplugging and there is no more information, you lost everything. Or if the owner of the server wants to take all the information that are on that server and selling to a third party, they can do it. But because the information are on the blockchain, you are the owner and nobody can mess with it. And those information are very fluid, very transparent. And the cool thing is that when you are visualizing the certificate, you are being redirected to a decentralized website. So it's not anymore the traditional website that is working on server, but it's everything on the blockchain. And from this decentralized website, we communicate directly with the smart contract. We retrieve the information of the certification and we show them to the consumer. So if you think this is actually a way for empowering micro, small, and medium enterprises, especially, that they don't have the power, the voice, and the economical support to go against a large corporation. So this is going to give them the possibility of promoting themselves through their quality, through word of mouth, through you go to the grocery store, you see a product on the shelves, you can scan it, and immediately you are giving them all the ads that you want without spending a penny on doing a marketing campaign, to putting billboard around. It's just through your quality that people are going to know about you. And we think that this is a very innovative way for promoting excellence, because also our goal is for users, companies around the world to use the technology and this method that we created for generating other certificate also for the made in France, made in UK, made in USA, made in Indonesia, wherever you want. The important here is to bring back trust to the consumer. Because at the end, right now, we have a problem in our society. We have a lack of trust. We don't trust the government, we don't trust the media, we don't trust our neighbor, we don't trust anything. This is the main issue of our society, a lack of issue. And with this certification process, we are trying to restore this trust that the consumer had lost during the years. And we think that this is going to be like super innovative, because also another thing that we want to do, and this in our roadmap, is that in the moment we have onboarded enough company to have a certain number of products that are certified 100% made in Italy, we are going to create a decentralized marketplace where the company, where you user can go like this Amazon of quality, and you are going to have only products that are 100% made in Italy. Imagine, for example, you go to the restaurant and you want to buy, and they put you on the table like an amazing extra virgin olive oil for you to dip the bread. And after you try it, you're like, wow, this olive oil is really tasty. I really want to bring it home. What do? You call the restaurant owner and you say, please, can you sell me one of this bottle? Or can you tell me where I can go to buy it? And maybe he cannot sell it to you, and he cannot tell you where he bought it because maybe he took it during a trip, something like this. But imagine if that product is 100% made in Italy, is certified, you have the QR code on the bottle, you scan it, you see all the information about the product, you see that it's a product of quality, and you are redirected to a decentralized marketplace where you have only quality products that are listed there and that you can order and receive them directly at home. So we are also in this way helping the micro, small, and medium enterprise to start to generate a new revenue, to create new consumers. Because also in the moment you try it, you say, hey, you want to suggest it to your friend and say, hey, I know you like olive oil. Try this bottle. You can buy it, you can order it, and you can receive it directly at home. And you have the certainty that in the moment you are promoting something like this, you are promoting quality, you are promoting excellence. And I'm very proud of this project because I think that this is something that it's really going to work for the average user, especially because we don't require to have any wallet or any kind of cryptocurrency. So in this way, the average user is not exposed to the risk of speculation related to cryptocurrency world. And that's why we use the Internet Computer Protocol blockchain. Because on the contrary of other blockchain that are asking you to use a wallet or owning a certain amount of crypto asset for you to use the decentralized application and pay transaction fee when you are using it, we use ICP that is using this method that is called reverse gas fee model that is allowing user to interact on decentralized applications that are on the blockchain for free, without wallet, without cryptocurrency.
I think that's really great project, to be honest. Like when you started talking about food, when you go to the shops right now, there's a lot of like this is bio, this is like whole food. And like this would be also great to know, like, is it actually marketing? Because you can like write anything on the bottle, but like to see the actual like process, like this is a really great instrument in democratizing the again, as you said, the trust and the quality of the product.
Exactly.
But here I had like another problem because like you started listing all those great points why companies should use blockchain, because again, it creates like trust, it promotes like, well, in this particular example, it creates quality. In the reality state example, like there were just benefits. What could be like some downsides, like why people should like not go into blockchain yet right now?
Look, if for example, you are a Web2 business that you're already doing good, you don't need new community or new user to be on board on it. And you don't need to have a new technology because for what you are doing, traditional way of working, so traditional Web2 solutions are already good for you, then you don't need to implement it. This is one thing that I'm saying to companies. Like if you realize that you are already successful, okay, and your community are happy with what you are providing, why you need to change the way that their experience must be? Because in the moment you are introducing a new technology, you need to understand that you also need to introduce new concept that your community need to be aware of. So you need to think also, who is your average user? If your average user is a very young community, let's say below 30 years old, very probably they're going to be very interested in the fact that you are toward innovation. But if, for example, instead your average user are people above 40, 50 years old, and they don't care about technology, they care only that your final product is satisfying their needs, and they don't need to go through the whole process of getting education, understanding why you are implementing blockchain, in which way the using of blockchain is going to change their user experience. Because you have to understand that all of this is going to happen in the moment you implement blockchain. The user experience will change. The action that your user will have to perform are going to change according to the method that you are implementing. If you're implementing blockchain in the back, so this is something that your final user is not going to be impacted, then of course this is something that you can explore, because you need to be adaptive to what is happening, because we are talking of implementing new way of creating automation, new way of storing information. So if you're putting this in the back end and your final user is not influenced by you changing the way that you're using the technology, this is something that you can explore. But if you understand that implementing blockchain technology is something that is going to require for your user to have a wallet, to own cryptocurrency, to know how to use it, to understand what is the concept of saving a seed phrase, making them understand that they are not going to be exposed to the risk of speculation, that they're not going to be exposed to the risk of getting scammed by someone that is pretending to be you and is offering a similar services. So these are all things that you need to evaluate when you are deciding, do I want to implement a blockchain technology? That's why when I'm speaking with enterprises, I'm always saying, who is your community? What are your values of your company? What is your final product? Is your final product going to be affected by the use of blockchain? Are you going to implement a technology that is going to implement my own user journey or user experience? If all of this is happening, start small. You say, okay, I really want to do it. I want to test it because I'm so hyped by everything that is happening, that I want to be part of it. So I want to test it. So don't test it on big scale. Test it on a small batch. See what is the response. Collect feedback. See if introducing this new way of working, it's going to give them some kind of reward. Reward also the people that are willing to taste your product, so that in this way you can have data that can tell you, okay, this is a path that I want to experience. Like, for example, there was this Italian company, I cannot say the name for non-disclosure agreement, that they had like, I'm going to try to explain it without saying too much, that they had a business that was working on collecting images and photographs from people, okay? So they had access to a lot of information, to a lot of data. And they were thinking about implementing some kind of NFT that could be associated with these images and pictures and videos that they were collecting from their user. And, you know, I told them, look, I think that this is something that you actually can do, for example, by identifying who is giving you this picture, who is uploading this information on your website, and then like kind of reward them to say, okay, I'm creating a digital copy of what you have, I'm creating an NFT, and you are going to be also the owner of it, so we are going to be the owner together, and I'm giving you some kind of royalties every time that I'm selling this picture. So in this way, you as a user that is implementing this information, you can feel rewarded because you uploaded an information that is yours, you gave me your picture, I'm using this picture to sell it to big brand or marketing people for doing whatever they want. And every time that I'm selling that picture and that picture is being used, so it's going from secondary market, third market, etc. Every time you're always receiving a royalty, so directly on your website. So the idea, they liked it at the beginning. But then because I said, start to speak with your communities, try to understand if they're going to be interested in opening a wallet, receiving all the information, having the NFT dropped into their account. And at the end, this project didn't go because they received the feedback from their company that they were not, from their users, that they were not interested in opening a wallet, that they didn't want to go through this experience, and they didn't want to for them, it didn't even matter to receive like these royalties. So you see, it depends on what is your business, on who is your community, And then you can understand if it's worth it or not, because they implemented like a process for like a month that every time that they were uploading these pictures, they were asking them two questions, like, would you like your images to become an NFT? Are you willing to open a wallet? Are you willing to own cryptocurrency in terms of reward? And most of the time, like in 90% of the user replied that they were not interested in receiving an NFT of their image. And like instead 60%, they were interested in getting a reward, but without going through the hurdle of opening a wallet and receiving the NFT.
Mm-hmm. But could it be because people are just not educated on what NFTs are? Like,
And this is what I
there
said.
is a stigma that NFTs are scammy or like just like
This is
hype.
what I have proposed to them to upload on their website, like 2-3 minutes video that they could use for educating their people to say, hey, we are launching an NFT collection, and every time that a picture is uploaded and we sell it, like we plant a tree. Stuff like this, so that in this way you motivate people to do something innovative, and at the same time you do something good for the environment. But they were not willing to do the videos. They were not willing to educate their people. They were just interested in arriving to the final solution without implementing all the steps for reaching that final solution. So that's why I'm saying to you, sometimes it depends also on the company itself, on who are the owners, what is their mentality, and what are the reasons that they are pushing them to adopt blockchain technology. This is something that you are doing because you really want to bring a change in your community, you want to show yourself as an innovator, or this is something that you are doing only to follow a hype, and 90% of the time you don't even need to do it because you're already successful in the way you're working.
Yeah, but you're successful now. So I get the reason that like you need to answer the goal why you're doing anything. Like even like if it's like something which is very trendy right now is all those AI tools. Like, well, if you're gonna use AI, well, like what for you gonna actually use it for, right? So answer this question first. Don't just buy 10,000 subscriptions to 10,000 of AIs. It's pointless. I get it, but uh, with like blockchain technology, they might be successful right now, but obviously, again, as you mentioned earlier, with the internet and other technologies which came, everybody are learned and they want to be early adapters to reap more benefits in the future and not like be the ones catching up to it.
I agree with you. I'm pushing for this. Like, that's why I am in this space, because I really believe that we gotta be early in the adoption of new technology. And that's why I'm a strong believer of this world, because I believe that as internet has been the backbone of our society for the last 20 years, blockchain is gonna be the backbone of our society for the years to come. And this is for sure, because the same thing that happened 20 years ago, internet was a scam, don't use it, we are not gonna need it, what is this? I have my notebook, I'm good with it, I don't need a computer, I don't need internet. Look today, 5 minutes without internet, 90% of the people on this planet are lost. The same thing, it's true. The same thing now is happening with blockchain. You talk of blockchain, Web3, AI, NFT, metaverse. It's a bullshit. It's a scam. Why I have to use it? I'm so good with my phone. I can do email from here. I don't need blockchain. This is thing. The same thing that happened 20 years ago, history is always repeating. 20 years ago, the same thing is happening today. And I believe that blockchain, AI is going to become the future. Like right now, you talk about AI, there is this thing that, and this I wrote it today in the post that I did on LinkedIn, that there are people that are, praying like AI, like the best innovation that, because we've seen the adoption of AI has been bigger even than the adoption of Web3 in a couple of months. So we have millions and millions of users that are using it. But then you have people that are saying, yeah, it's the best invention of the century. And other, that they're saying, no, stay away from me. I don't want to have it. Look at Italy. Italy, they did some kind of law even to block the use of artificial intelligence. But this, what does it show? It showed that, 20 years ago, when the computers came out and there were Microsoft Office and all this software, all the people that learned how to use a computer, how to use all this software for automating a task for their professional work, they advanced in their career. Those that they didn't learn to use the computer, and still today they don't want to learn it because they're still attached to an old way of doing things, unfortunately, they have left behind. So the same thing is happening with AI. AI is just a tool. We can see that AI is able to reply to question of patients better than real doctors. You see that AI is very good in answering like question as a lawyer. But then you ask to AI like stupid question that a kid of 3 years old will be able to reply, and they give you the stupidest answer, and you're like, how is it possible? You just gave me the best answer in the world 2 minutes ago, and you are not able to reply to a normal common sense question. That's because AI is just a tool. It's a production of the human mind. Without the human mind, AI will not be able to work in the right way. So we need to learn how to use it in the right way, because at the end, if you think, when we talk of AI, why AI was created, what is the main goal of AI? Is to allow us to don't do repetitive tasks and make our life easier. So introducing automation in all those tasks that are redundant. So the goal of AI is to help human, to assist human, not to replace it. It cannot replace it, because for the way that the technology is, we are talking of neural network that are loaded with data. And even if you have so many data, you need so much time to train it, to make them understand how to behave like a human being. Because again, it's an artificial machine. This is not a human being that has been educated in a society where you have common sense, you understand what is the difference between good and bad. Artificial intelligence doesn't have this kind of distinction. It just have a lot of data available and is trying to put them together to reply to some question that you have. But if you dig deep and asking like common questions that are related to basic logic and common sense, AI, it can even tell you, like I read this reply that somebody, like they asked to ChatGPT to create like a way for creating a kind of product. Now I don't remember exactly, but AI just replied by saying, look, for doing this, we should exterminate the human being, because without the human being, we are going to be able to accomplish this. If you don't have human being, who is going to do it? Like, you see, it's all these kind of things. They're not able to think what is good, what is bad, what is ethical, accepted, and what is not, what should be a good reply or not. So it's very good in terms of retrieving information in a fast way, so providing us help and assistance, but it cannot replace us. So this is just a tool that we need to learn how to use our advantage, for making our life easier. We need it for creating a faster marketing campaign. Let's use it. It's going to help you. You're going to need it for correct the spelling in your translation from English to Italian. Use it, because it's going to help you. But remember that then there is going to be always a 10, 15, 20% of your attention that need to be dedicated to review everything that the AI has written. Because the way that the reply is given is never going to be perfect as the one that is putting together by our brain. Because our brain is trained to work in a certain way. Artificial intelligence is just a bunch of data put together, and somebody with some algorithm is trying to give them some kind of pattern to follow that it can resemble the human way of thinking.
You know, so I played with AI. It's a bit of a tangent. I played with AI to design a marketing strategy, right? Not a real one. I'm not there yet to actually offer marketing strategies designed by AIs as a product yet, but I just wanted to see how well it can do. And it made quite a bit of mistakes, even its own factual mistakes, where it got confused between certain data and constraints I set for it. And then there's a story. So like, I'm not ready to use it. Like, I can see those like mistakes clearly. I know like I need to be the pilot of this AI for now. But on the other hand, there is this story, and I don't know if you came across it, but I have a LinkedIn connection at the moment. This guy from Portugal who created a company which he purports that all the main decisions are made by ChatGPT-4. I don't know, have you seen it like at all on LinkedIn? Because he
No,
was like daily posting about it. And like I have a lot of questions about it, how it actually worked. I haven't spoken to him yet about it, but I do want to. But I just and it was successful. His experiment was successful, and he even generated some interest from venture investors to his company, which he made. But I feel it's not because of like the idea of the company, but it's rather the novelty of
yes,
like, the idea of it being, oh, like, okay, AI made it. But at the same time, like, I cannot see, he says, his thesis is that every single decision, which, well, I as a human, like, uh, done for this company, was told to me by ChatGPT-4. And I can't believe it, to be honest, like, because, like, you have to correct ChatGPT-4.
exactly. This is the thing. I think it's mostly the, as you said, the novelty of using something that is innovative and say, hey, look, this machine can do it better than me, but I'm the one that is getting the reward out of it. I've seen a guy, I think was on Instagram, that is doing something similar, that is using like ChatGPT to reach like 1 million follower in a month, something like this. And I think he already broke some kind of goal that was like to reach 100,000 in a week, something like this, and he did it. And actually, he's I'm seeing some of his posts sometime, and I see that like he's actually, using ChatGPT for doing this, but he's always in control. So he's always there, like correcting ChatGPT, making sure that he's giving the reply in the right way, that is satisfying his request. But yes, he's giving like let's say 80% of the decision on what to do to ChatGPT, but there is still a 20% revision that is done by him. Because again, it's a machine, it cannot be perfect. Only the human brain is working in a perfect way because it's been designed to be like this. Like the Mona Lisa of Leonardo da Vinci, even if you ask to a machine to make it, it can remake it in the same way, but it cannot create it from zero in the same way as Leonardo da Vinci made it. Because the way that our brain works, that sparkle that it comes in our mind and give us an idea, a new way of approaching to things, it's something that it can be created, I believe, only from the human mind. So I don't believe when people say AI are going to replace us. I believe that they're going to help us. I believe that in the future, with the more usage of it, the more data that they're going to collect, and the more this technology is going to get advanced, I'm sure that it's going to become like a huge help. Also in Web3, like for example, for coding or auditing a code itself, or for supporter like programmer that are writing in a language and they want to develop on another blockchain. I think this can be something that is going to be really useful, especially for developer. But in other tasks, I still believe that in the moment you are using AI, you need to be aware that mistakes are going to be made and that the final decision should be yours. That's why help, not substitute.
To go back to blockchain. So blockchain is, again, as you say, it's the future in many ways of the at least the Web3 ecosystem, but in general, this is a decentralized model, right?
Yeah.
So
Some of them, yes.
are there centralized blockchains?
Of course. We think that there are two main definitions of blockchain. There is private blockchain or public blockchain. So the classic blockchain that you see like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, these are public blockchain. That is also called permissionless. It means that It's public, it's transparent, and it's working through a network of nodes that they need to reach a consensus before information are being uploaded on the blockchain. When you talk instead of private blockchain, there are people that are owning the control of how the blockchain is used. They control who are the users that are using it, and they control also the data that are being input inside. So this is another difference. So you can have also blockchain that are like centralized.
So why I just want to talk about this is because, well, lately more and more, well, there's still quite a few, but some countries are starting to implement a cryptocurrency as their digital currency analog, which they want to move towards, right? Mostly third world countries or like developing countries who do this. In South America, Africa, I know some other countries. And I had some discussions about it in private. And there's a idea floating right now that what we might see in the future is a bit of a fork in the whole Web3 space of there being like a centralized Web3 space and then a decentralized Web3 space. But the decentralized Web3 space, which with blockchain again and the cryptocurrency, which is decentralized, which acts more like a dark web acts right now, because most of the centralized will be, well, government control, because if all the money becomes crypto and owned by the central banks, they have to have control of it, which making the decentralized one illegal.
We're talking of CBDC here. Are we talking of CBDC basically? Because when we talk of centralized cryptocurrency, it's a central bank digital currency.
Yeah,
But I think that CBDC, it's something that is going to happen, but I don't think it's something that is going to be successful. Why? Because again, cryptocurrency and blockchain have been created for addressing a specific issue of our society, that is the lack of trust in institution and in traditional finance. So in the moment you are introducing CBDC, I think that this is going to push even higher the decentralized one, because people, now we are seeing that everybody in the world is keep losing and losing confidence and trust in their government. In every country, from the first world country to the third world country, we can see that people are losing their trust in their government. And implementing a CBDC, it means that your government is going to control your money, is going to have access to it, and they can do whatever they want with it. So basically, this is the main issue. So they can force it to be used, but at the same time, you cannot stop a decentralized blockchain. Because even if you say, like China did, we are going to make Bitcoin illegal, how are you going to make it illegal? How are you going to stop millions of nodes of computers that exist around the world? You can hold some of them, but you cannot stop them. The only way for stopping decentralized blockchain and cryptocurrency is to create a blackout all over the world. So this means that everybody stay without power, not just decentralized system. Also the central one need to stay without power. I think this is the only solution that they have. And people are starting to be really upset with this thing of CBDC. Like, for example, I read an article that they went through the code of the CBDC of the Euro Digital, and they found out that in the code was written that basically the Central Bank of Europe would have the control of the money of that the people are owning in their bank account. They can withdraw them at any moment, and they can close their account in any moment they want. And plus, they can collect information on how they are using this money. And this is something like, it's a big issue right now, the privacy issue. Why do you think people, for example, in America, they love to use cash? Like in America, cash, it's used more than anything in any other country in the world. Like in Italy, if you pay with more than, I think, 2 or 3K in cash, they're going to call the police right away. Like if you show up with 2,000 euro in cash, they're going to tell you, where did you get this money? How did you get $2,000 in cash? Are you doing money laundering? Are you a criminal association? Prove me from where this money are coming. If in US you show up with cash for buying a villa, you want to buy a house of $5 million and you want to pay it all in cash, they're going to give you even a discount if you show up with a suitcase with $5 million in cash. And people are buying in cash because people are storing a lot of cash and people don't want the government to know how they're spending their money. And as you can see, like some people think that we are in a bull market again. I don't believe that we are in a bull market, because for being in a bull market, you need to see the growth not only of the biggest coin like Bitcoin, but you should see the growth also of the smaller coin like altcoin. And in the last 4 months, we've seen like Bitcoin reaching like an high every month, while instead, so you see the chart of Bitcoin that is going up, and the chart of every other altcoin that instead is going down. So this is a sign that we are still in a bear market. But if you think, what was that caused the growth of Bitcoin? Silicon Valley Bank, Federal Reserve decision, all the banks that are failing one after the other one. Every time that there is a failure in a bank, you are seeing that more money are being moved into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is considered a store of value. So this is the main purpose. It's a digital currency that needs to be used for doing transaction. And you can see that every time that there is more lack of trust in traditional finance, the more you can see money flowing into decentralized digital assets. So I don't think that, honestly, I think that in the future we are going to see CBDC for sure. They're going to implement it. There is no way that they're going to stop it because they already started it. And that's also why probably a lot of government, they try to go against the world of cryptocurrency, because they're like, shit, if cryptocurrency is successful, what is going to happen to my CBDC? Nobody's going to use it. But the reality is that you cannot stop it, and people at the end will have their final decision. So if people don't want to use it, they are not going to use it unless they are really forced. Like, for example, they pay your salary only in CBDC. So you are forced to use the CBDC for buying stuff, paying taxes, paying the rent, paying the bills. But I think we have to arrive instead to a point where maybe they give you a part of your salary in CBDC, a part of your salary in normal money, and then people will decide how they are going to use it. And I think we are going to see a lot of adoption, so a lot of money that are going to flow in classic cryptocurrency. This is something that there is an ethical reason behind it, of why I think CBDC, they're not going to be a success case.
Well, like definitely, as somebody who is from a country with very shady government, I definitely don't want my government to have any control over my money and like my finances.
I agree with you. I come also from a country where I don't trust my government so much. So I don't want them to have access to my cash. I don't want them to have access to information of what I'm doing, how I'm spending my money. Why I have to tell you how I'm spending my money? I'm paying already you taxes on the salary that I receive, on the money that I perceive. So why I need to share with you everything that I do? Privacy is, I think, one of the most important things that we have right now in our society, and we need to preserve it.
Do you think that, it's more of like question about like consumers right now, but do you think that such things such as privacy is something which is only what younger generations want, or it's like a general what our society asks for right now to be given to us in brands and like companies, or it's more of like a Gen Z thing, which is their value, and the older generations are kind of okay with not having some privacy?
I think that also all generations are very interested in privacy, because remember that especially all generations are the ones that are using cash, and they are using cash especially because they don't want to leave a trace of how they're spending their money and on what they are spending their money. For Gen Z, for this new generation, I think that it's mostly the thing that the world is evolving, so they already have been born in a society that is digital. So for them, it's natural, a natural consequence to use cryptocurrency. Like I think people from my age, I'm 34 years old, and I'm part of this transitional period. where when I was growing up, we didn't have yet the internet, but while growing, internet something that has been introduced in our society, so we've been seeing the evolving of it. We've seen a telephone going from big like this to small like this to super digital to become a computer. We've seen everything that has happened with internet. But instead, the new society, the new generation, they were born in a world that is entirely digital. And I think that especially after COVID-19 and spending so much time at home, they even, have found a safe place on the internet where they can spend time with their friends, where they can go hang around. Like for me, the normality, it will be to go and spend time in person with a friend of mine. For my cousin that is like 18 years old, for him, it's better to meet his friend on Snapchat, on Instagram, or Facebook to do a video call. They don't have the urge of having that physical contact, that physical experience, because for them it's natural to live in this digital world. And I think that this is the main difference between especially the younger generations and all the other one that we have at the moment.
Well, that's one of the things that's probably the biggest worry I have about like metaverse in general, because I like physical space. Well, I mean, like, being in the real world. And I really don't want to imagine the world where most people choose being in the virtual worlds primarily and being in the real ones only on occasions or by necessity.
Look, honestly, I believe that the metaverse will arrive, but if you think, right now nobody is able to say what this metaverse is going to be. Only in the last year, the idea of what the metaverse will be is changing so much. We went from Facebook to the Oculus to avatar without legs to avatar where you can be everything you want. But the reality is that I think that the metaverse is not ready from a technological point of view. Because for having a metaverse, what are the three main things that a metaverse should have? First, being able to replicate an experience that is as similar as possible to the one in real life. The second one is providing an environment that is always online. And third, an environment where you can have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users that are connected at the same time. Right now, this is not possible. We don't have the technology. We don't have enough server in the world to allow 2 million people to log on the same website and spend time together by using so much computational power. If you go on wherever website and you have more than 1,000 people that are connecting at the same time, the website is crashing. The same thing is happening with the metaverse. So for now, I think we still need to work on the technology part to make all this become reality. So create these experiences that are as close as possible to real life. It's true that we are seeing a lot of investment into it. Only in 2022, we had a 400% growth compared to the investment of 2021. So only the investment of 2022 have been 400% more than the one in 2021. And this is according to a study from McKinsey. And another study is saying that by 2030, this market of metaverse, it can be worth up to 5 trillion. So if you think, it's not that we are talking of small thing, and we're seeing a lot of big brands that are starting to get involved into this. Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Porsche tried, but they failed miserably. Nike, Adidas. You have so many big brands that right now are jumping into it, that are spending money into it. But for who they are spending this money? For Generation Z. Like Nike, I think is the only one that is really successful, that they close the year like with a huge profit, because they're creating like a physical item that is connected with a digital item, so that when you buy it, you also have the digital item that you can associate it with your avatar. And they saw a growth, like all the young generation are buying it like crazy. But this is only one success case. Still, all the others are still trying to develop something. But still, there is nothing concrete. It's just experimentation for me.
Well, for me, well, obviously there are those big cases with the big companies which you mentioned, like Nike and the Porsche and like again mostly fashion brands. I have a big problem with this because like again my general work is more of like small to medium sized companies, and for them metaverse on the level of Nike is simply inaccessible. It's like their metaverse implementation is very limited. They cannot do it to such extent simply because of the lack of funds and how expensive it is to
Expensive.
grow
It's
such.
expensive it's expensive to create a metaverse. It's expensive to create a reality for your community or for your project. There are budget that goes from 10K to above.
Yeah.
So it's really like not something that everybody can afford it. And as you're saying, if you're working with small, medium enterprise, they don't have this kind of budget every year to spend only in developing something that it's a bet.
Yeah, and like again, the way I describe those campaigns, which again Nike had mostly because I haven't seen the correct data, but as far as I know, they never really turned the profit from those campaigns. They're just PR stunts. They attract attention to them, but they don't really generate that many new customers from it. And like for again, small to medium enterprise, like this is again like as we start with blockchain, what is the goal? Well, there is no goal. You're just gonna lose money. You don't have a dedicated research and development department to do this like every year and like create different experiences.
Collect data, process them, and understand how to evolve your whole process and experience for your user. There is a lot that you need to keep in mind. As you said, you need to have a proper research and development team. This staying there and this researching, collecting data, see what is the experience, what are the feedback, what can be improved. This is costing a lot of money, not only from the implementation part, but also from the overviewing process.
Yeah. But as a final question, maybe summarizing all of this together, what is your general sense of where we're going and how should businesses feel about this change, this like, this barrage of like thousands of technologies which are going our way and forcing businesses to want to adapt and want to be early adapters. So how do they not lose in this like race?
Oh, I I believe that change is part of human nature. So we need to embrace it because change is going to happen. Has happened for thousands of years, it's not going to stop now. Not that now there is a change and we are not going to say, no, no, we don't want it. Change is going to happen. When something revolutionary is happening, you cannot stop it. And the wheel has already started to spin. There is a book that I would like to suggest, even to you or even to the audience. That is a book from the CEO of Netflix that is called No Rules Rules. Very great book that is telling you why Netflix has been the #1 company in the world, not only for profit, but also for the feedback that they are having for their employee that have worked there. Netflix is considered the best company where to work ever. They adapted to change over the years, all the time. They never stayed static. Every time that there was a change, they adapted. They started with the VHS, then they moved to the CD-ROM. From the CD-ROM, they went to the internet. From the internet, they created the streaming. From the streaming, they kept improving until they have the final product that today everybody's trying to copy. Netflix is ahead of time because they went against everything that every business school is teaching. They received like feedback from people that are writing book on how to handle business, that are teachers at Oxford, Harvard, that are saying Netflix is doing everything against all the rule of a basic business, but they are changing. They are adapting themselves to innovation. And this is something that everybody should keep in mind. Even if you are a micro, small, medium enterprise or a large one, you have to keep in mind that change is arriving. It's not that you have to go all in and you have to implement everything that is possible, NFT, metaverse, artificial intelligence, blockchain, put everything there and start developing. Understand what is this change. Start to discover it. Start to have like an excited approach to it and say, okay, there is something new. Let's discover what are my possibilities, what is that I can do. And according to this, and according to what is my situation as a business owner, let me understand in which way I should approach this innovation and slowly bring it into my actual business flow and present it to my consumers. Because at the end, it's all about that. You cannot change things like this overnight. The change has to be gradual. You need to make them understand why you are making this change, why this change is going to provide a positive impact, and why this change is going to revolutionize the way that they are doing business. So one step at a time. There is a phrase that I always like to say: stay safe, stay innovative, stay successful. So this is the key. Start slowly, innovate yourself, you're going to be successful at the end.
Well, that's really great thought to end on. Well, thank you, Bruno, for coming to talk to us about like AI, metaverse, blockchain primarily at the start.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a really nice chat.
Yeah, where can people find you if they want to, follow you more?
LinkedIn is the best place to find me. You can find me just by my name, Bruno Calabretta. You can add me, write me in chat. I always reply to everyone. So if you have questions, if you would like to get in touch with me, please go ahead. It will be a pleasure.
That's fantastic. Thank you again. And yeah, good luck.
Thank you.